Welcome to the Knightline Podcast, your source for UCF football and former UCF player information. Hello, Night Nation. This is Andrew Phegley coming to you from the 1148 studios. We have, to my left here, as always,
it's Troy Ondrizek. Thank you for listening.
All right, so UCF won their 7th straight home opener last night.
20th straight against the FCS school.
20th straight against the FCS school, you're right. The score was 41-7. That's a little bit more like it. My voice is a little bit messed up today.
You can imagine why.
I was screaming and yelling. You know, good things came out of this victory. As far as I'm concerned, there's a couple bad things as well, and we'll get into that.
There's always things to work on.
There is. I'm not happy with the referee's call on the targeting thing with Rennell Hall. I do not believe that was targeting. George O'Leary does not believe that is targeting, and he says that he's going to
appeal the half-game suspension.
Yes.
Now, let me touch on this. I vehemently thought it was not targeting until I saw the ESPN replays this morning and last night. He did not target him per se. He did go shoulder pad to chest. He did go helmet to helmet. It did clip the gentleman's face mask. I could see why they made the call they did, because that is, in fact, targeting per se by the letter of the rule.
I didn't see the replay.
Yeah, from our seats, which are not bad seats at all, from everyone's perception in the stadium, it did not look like targeting at all. It didn't look like targeting to the players. It didn't look like targeting to either coach. But, you know, we're not afforded the opportunity to have instant replay, especially on that 27-inch screen we have.
Yeah. They did replay it a bunch of times on there.
But you can't tell. Helmet did make contact with helmet.
Okay.
Which is unfortunate, because I really wanted to argue that point today. Wanted to talk about what a great run after the catch it was by Perriman. But, you know, Hall didn't leave his feet. His foot was still on the ground, is what it looked like. However, he didn't have... you know what, Hall? Great hit. You know, a couple years ago, that would have been a big stick award for him. Or, you know, for another program, it would have been a helmet sticker.
I don't think that he intentionally was trying to hurt the guy
means.
or target the guy. I mean, he just wanted to make a good block.
And he made an excellent block.
It was awesome. And a couple of years ago, that would have never even been considered targeting.
Do you remember when O'Leary first got here, we had the Big Stick Award?
No. I wasn't.
Atari Bigby won that thing over and over again.
Yeah, I wasn't around at that point, but I am now, so...
You are now.
I'll try to catch up on some stuff.
All right, first quarter.
Go ahead.
That was pathetic.
It was, and I was really worried at one point after they scored, 7 points to our 3 points.
Yeah, when they got that touchdown
when they got that touchdown, I'm just like, oh my God, we're going to lose. They're going to make us look like complete idiots, and, the whole season is gone.
From the onset, our offensive line got no push against their defensive line. What name was called constantly? LeBrandon Richardson, the former UCF defensive end. He was in the backfield. He got quiet after the first quarter. We didn't hear much from him. But he was back there on Holman. Holman was inaccurate. We couldn't run the ball. We got a field goal, thankfully, and then they came back and scored.
Yeah. They definitely turned it on afterwards.
We
turned it on afterwards.
We promptly outscored them 38-0 after that point.
Right. So,
and that horse collar tackle on the kick return was a saving grace, almost a turning point of the game per se.
It was. And their penalties for not wearing white also helped us tremendously.
It gave us 30 yards. They had 17 penalties. I mean, we were we were helped immensely by their penalties.
17 penalties for 137 yards. That tied a single game record by UCF opponent.
For amount of penalties?
Yes, Baylor had 17 in last year's Fiesta Bowl as well.
Oh.
So, I don't know what the yards were on that. I would have to look that up, but...
Which we could do what we want.
137 yards backwards, though, doesn't help anybody.
Or forwards, yeah. It gave us quite a bit of advantageous field position.
We had 6 sacks in the game. The last time UCF had 6 sacks was against Rice in 2010. UCF held the Wildcats 3 for 13 on third downs, and UCF had 14 tackles for loss, the most since 14 at Arizona State in 2002. The attendance, which may have been a little inflated, but it was packed.
It was pretty well packed.
Yeah, so maybe not. It's always inflated a little bit because there's people that, buy their tickets and don't actually come to the game.
They don't make it out of the parking lots,
right.
The tailgating.
The announced attendance was 44,510, the largest home opener since the Texas game in 2007, the very first game in the stadium, and that was 45,622.
Well done, Knight Nation.
Absolutely.
You should be very proud of that.
Absolutely. The players, I've got some quotes from them on playing in front of the home crowd and how big it was, and
we had a ton of unofficial and official visits there from this class and the 2016 class. So hopefully that made quite the impact on them.
We did.
And, of course, the BCU band made an impact on them as well.
Right. Yeah. Wow. We'll have Tina's take later, and she will talk about that, I'm sure.
It was to watch her throughout the entire performance was almost as entertaining as the actual performance.
Yeah. Yeah, she likes that stuff.
You can't blame her. It was entertaining as hell.
Yeah, the Bethune-Cookman band, they are awesome. The thing that I was impressed with, they high-stepped the entire time. Like, knees up, high-stepped. Like marching band. They didn't just walk around.
I wonder if they have a strength and conditioning coach for the band.
They have to.
I'm pretty sure they offer more scholarships to the band than they do to the football team.
They probably do.
And it shows. The quality of the band's amazing.
Yeah, very, very impressive. All right, we'll have more on that later. Rodrigo Cuarte actually played as the kicker for most of the game. I think Moffitt came in and had one field goal.
He ended up having he had no field goals. He had 3 extra points.
Extra points.
Cuarte knocked both field goals, and that kid. I mean, and it was really highlighted by the lack of kicking ability on Bethune-Cookman. What a leg on that young man.
Yeah, they went over the net like every time. So
his 37-yarder went over the net and into the stands.
Yeah, he had 2. He was 2 for 2, and both of them were 37 yards. Is what they say.
Were
anyway.
they? Oh, okay.
I don't know.
Well, then I was not incorrect.
We've now recorded a field goal in 17 straight games, which is good. Justin Holman made his second career start.
His first career start as win as a starter.
Yes.
What do you think of Holman?
I like Holman. I think that he takes a little while to get going sometimes. One thing that I don't like is, and this may be totally trivial, but it drives me crazy when quarterbacks wiggle around back there before they snap the ball. Have you noticed that with him? He wiggles back and forth, and I guess it's his thing to do.
My favorite part of that was Andrew just wiggled in his chair.
Yeah. I don't know.
It was humorous.
I'm surprised O'Leary lets him do that, to be honest with you, because I don't think it looks good, and I don't.
Are you worried about how it looks, or what are you worried about? What bothers you about his wiggling?
Well,
is it like when you wiggle a bat like Gary Sheffield used to?
Well, I mean, a lot of people do that, but I don't know. I noticed it last year. I notice it now. I think that maybe people could key off of it, number one. Our offensive line has enough problems as it is still.
Maybe he's preparing to have to move around because the offensive
They
line's
definitely
not gonna block.
keyed off of what the Bethune-Cookman quarterback was doing. Our defensive line and our defense did. The huge clap thing that he did. It's the same kind of thing.
Same thing Toledo did against Mizzou.
Yeah. So that's why I'm saying that.
The things I did have an issue with, he didn't always do his checkdowns. There was a couple times where he had Akins and Wharton and a few guys wide open on the left side, but due to a collapsing pocket, he wasn't able to make all his reads. He does throw a really nice deep ball.
He does.
We only had 13 passes the whole game.
Yeah, and
Patty had 2 of those. Really should have been 14.
I have his stats right in front of me, and I'm really tired because I stayed up till about 4 o'clock in the morning. 6 for 11, 145 yards. He also had 11 carries for 29 yards.
I liked him on a couple of those quarterback keepers, and I was, questioning during the game.
I worry about that. personally. I
You
worry
worry
about
about
all those quarterback keepers because at some point somebody's going to get hurt on one of those deals. I don't think it's the best thing to do.
So if that happens, our number 2 is Nick Patty, and we got to see an abbreviated version of him. And what did you think of Nick?
It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, to be honest.
How bad did you think it was going to be?
I thought it was going to be a lot worse.
Well, it wasn't bad at all.
No. He threw 2 passes, 2 for 2 for 37 yards.
And he would have had a touchdown.
And would have had a long touchdown, except for the targeting thing, yes.
He had a couple keepers.
He did, and he ran pretty decent. I guess I'd never seen him except that time in practice, and what I saw in practice wasn't good.
But we're talking about practice.
I understand that. But I was not expecting, anything from him in the fourth quarter in the game, even against.
So what did he do that you liked?
Well, he threw that really long, nice ball that got
it was a
called
slant
back.
that Perryman, cut across the grain.
Right. He obviously has some good vision and can run the ball a little bit. Can go hit the hole that he's supposed to hit.
He can't move a pile, but that's
he's a small guy. He's a quarterback. The quarterback normally doesn't move the pile.
Holman can move a pile.
He can.
We saw that.
You got to keep your feet moving. It seems like the ball comes out fast, a little bit faster, even than Holman. Nick Patty, so whatever, I'm glad that he got to get in there, and hopefully we don't have to see him except for cleanup duty ever again, personally.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I thought Holman did pretty good. There were some issues definitely when the pocket was collapsing on him. No fault of his own. That's one thing we could touch on is, for the love of God, we need to fix this offensive line issue.
Yeah.
But so you want to touch on that? Are you going to move down?
A couple more stats here,
right,
real quick.
We'll stay structured, and then we'll move from there.
William Stanback, his second career start and first career 100-yard rushing game. He tied a career high with 15 carries for 104 yards. His 2 rushing touchdowns also matched his personal best. I did not realize throughout that game that he had 100 yards. I thought, I was blown away when I saw that.
He had a couple breakaways.
Yeah,
he had that 135 yards that got knocked out on the one, and then his first touchdown.
Yeah,
was a couple of double digits.
it was a little bit of running back by committee because Cedric got that 1 yard some
touchdown
touches
run.
And touchdown, and then
Dontravius came in.
Dontravius was in there quite a bit. So
we averaged 4.1 yards per carry.
I still wonder if Stanback could actually carry the entire load of a game, like some running backs do.
We're going to find out.
Yeah, I don't know.
We have depth at running back.
We do,
and we need it due to the fact that these guys are taking some licks.
Yeah,
they're getting hit early in their runs, and unable to create any momentum, and they're getting stood up. We're just not creating lanes.
Yeah.
So each run is a punishing run. They're not able to get to the outside to be able to run out of bounds to save themselves a bit.
Yeah. The offensive line looked better.
We better look better playing against an FCS school.
Yeah, that's where I was going with that.
But we got no push. I might argue contrary to the fact that they look better. We had more success, but we didn't move the pile.
Right. We had more success. That's what I probably should have said.
And I think we had more success based on level of opponent. I mean, they just weren't able to fill the gaps. Their linebackers weren't able to help in the run game. And we ran the ball 41 times. So hopefully all those reps gave the line an opportunity to be cohesive and to gel and to develop some type of rhythm.
I believe that we did not throw the ball at all in the third quarter. I could be wrong on that, but I remember reading that or hearing that someplace. That's interesting. So they kind of came out from halftime and ran it, as we talked about before. We've seen people do that to us, and obviously it worked pretty good because they got pretty tired.
But really, when did the game change in our favor? when we went into the air.
Yeah, it did. We scored that touchdown. And made it.
It was Wharton
10-7.
Wharton got a nice little, it was 1-on-1. Him and Hall on the side. He almost got a block, made one guy miss and was gone. You got to get the ball into the hands of our wide receivers.
It says that he only had one catch. Is that correct? J.J. Wharton had one catch for 35 yards, which is good for a touchdown. It says that moved him into 10th on the all-time UCF receiving yards chart. He now has 1,996 yards in a black and gold uniform. That's interesting because we didn't wear black. And a lot of people, like on the message boards and stuff, are a little bit upset because we never wear our black.
I'm tired of this Georgia Tech wannabe uniform.
Is that what it is?
That's what it seems like to me.
Is it George is
reliving
likes to look at that color?
His national championship days. I mean, every team he's wanted to go to has gold somewhere in their uniform. From Georgia Tech to Notre Dame to the Golden Dome.
He is an Irishman, though. Ooh, the little pot of gold. You know
what? You might be onto something. However, I would love it if we wore black and gold as opposed to watered down urine goldish with white pants.
Yeah. I want to see all black, and that's never going to happen with George O'Leary. So maybe after George retires, we'll have an
aesthetically pleasing uniform.
A coach that will, spice up the uniform a little bit, and maybe even put their names on the back of the uniforms. That would be really nice.
You want us to be like Oregon, where Nike provides millions of dollars for uniforms?
Not like that, but some of their stuff is a little hideous. But it would be cool to have
just a little hideous.
Yeah, it would be cool to have something a little bit different. I mean, obviously the one last year, to me personally, I thought those helmets were extremely ugly. They could have done something a lot better with that.
Which helmets were those?
The black ones. The black helmet?
I don't even remember.
Black and gold helmet for USF.
Oh, for the USF game? Yeah. I was more focused how crappy we were playing.
Yeah.
But yes, he blamed it on the helmet, and we're never going to see them again.
And yeah, they sold them.
Yeah.
And they sold to UCF fans very, very quickly, actually. So.
And speaking of our receiving,
the fans can wear those helmets.
Who was our top receiver?
You tell me.
It happens to be the same guy who we unfortunately
I don't
had
like
to
it when
report.
you ask me questions like that I'm not totally prepared for.
Rashad Perryman.
I figured that's who it was. I just, I'm a little tired here.
He had that nice long reception where he shook off the cornerback at the end, ran into touchdown. Had the one with the targeting play called back. Had a couple nice catches. Talk about a little bit of redemption after the incredibly painful drop balls he had on, third and long situations. Last week.
I think he found his hands again, which was nice. He did drop one in the beginning, I remember, and I think I remember hearing the crowd kind of let him know that was not good that he dropped that ball.
He's a gamer.
He is.
That kid's got some talent.
I
hope he sticks around another year.
I do, too. I hope he does. It kind of saddened me to see the last couple of weeks with him dropping a bunch of balls. It's not his thing, and I understand that there's a new quarterback and gelling between the receivers and the quarterback takes a little bit of time. So
it's timing, and
it's timing.
Knowing when to expect the ball when you come out of your release on your cuts and stuff.
And honestly, I think everybody's a little off by how bad our offensive line is. I think it throws everybody off.
It's a pervasive
it throws the
disease.
Entire thing off. I'm worried when it comes down to getting into a shootout with somebody. I'm worried when it comes to playing another defensive line that is good. So I don't think that we're going to see much more of what we saw last night, to be honest with you.
It's not that they're untalented, and with how many plays did we run? We had close to 60 plays, correct?
I don't know.
Not more. And then,
Sure.
That's a lot of time for them to be able to build some type of, rhythm together. It's going to take reps. They are talented. They're not showing it. Torian Wilson got beat early. I mean, our offensive line can only improve. If you get worse, then there's no point in having an offensive line.
Yeah.
Therefore, is there a legitimate concern moving forward? Absolutely. I mean, every chance for us for a victory hinges on the play of our offensive line, and rightfully so. So, where do we go from here? Well, hopefully up. Hopefully, this builds a foundation for them to work on.
I did meet lots of nice people walking around before the game. When I was tailgating, when we were tailgating, you got there a little late. But
I got there beyond a little late.
Yeah. I was there, and I walked around with a microphone and talked to some people. I was hoping some people would have came to my tailgating tent and said hi, but nobody did. I had a banner up there, so I
wasn't there. That was the issue.
Yeah.
They sensed my absence.
We're in the D2 lot, and we will be there throughout the season, and I will have that banner up so you can easily find us. Please come and say hi. I know y'all are there. I know you're busy tailgating and all that stuff. But
listen, if you ever been involved in a cornhole tournament, that stuff gets intense. It's hard to walk away from that.
Yeah, we didn't take our cornhole boards out this time, but the next game we will have them there.
We need to bring the smoker next time.
Yeah, I don't know. The whole charcoal thing and tailgating.
That's a pretty funny Allstate commercial.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about. That would be my luck.
I actually was at a night of fire where someone tried to snag my charcoal grill.
Yeah.
They burnt the piss out of their hands.
Yeah. I'm still trying to look for BCU actually had more time of possession.
Yeah, they ran the ball more than we did.
R26.
They ran more plays. They had more passing attempts and obviously more running attempts than us. It gave and our linebackers came to play today.
They did. They absolutely did.
You heard Troy Gray, Terrence Plummer, and Chequan Burkett's name called over and over again. I think 9 tackles apiece for Plummer and Gray.
Right. So that was definitely better. One thing, back to Rennell Hall, his streak of 29 receptions, 29 straight games with a reception was halted. And maybe that's why he laid that hit on that guy. Maybe he was upset that he hadn't caught a ball and hit that guy.
Well, it's hard to give him an opportunity to make a catch when we only have 13 passing attempts in a game.
Yeah.
I understand we were up.
I know. I'm just,
Now, I know what you're trying to play here.
Yeah,
and you know what? This actually leads to him possibly having 2 games in a row without a reception because we miss him for the first, if the appeal doesn't work in our favor.
That's the bad part about that, rule and the whole targeting and getting kicked out for, the game. That's fine. It was fourth quarter, whatever. That wasn't a big deal. But then they really hurt you by having the guys sit out the first half of the next game.
I know, losing Speedy, in the kick return game, and when we're probably going to need to use him in, to establish an offensive early against Houston, where they're getting hyped up about this game, having UCF in their brand new stadium. They absolutely want to crush us.
Yeah,
especially since they lost to Texas San Antonio in their home opener, and John O'Corn didn't look that impressive last night. Rennell Hall is quite the weapon for us.
Actually, let's go through and run down the American games from yesterday.
Absolutely,
there
were some impressive performances and some dismal outings yesterday.
Well, first of all, let's talk about this ECU complete shellacking of North Carolina.
And there's the impressive one. 70 to what?
41.
How many yards of offense did ECU put up?
You're the one that had that
789 yards of offense.
That's a lot.
343 on the ground.
Wow. So
talk about balance.
Okay, so yeah, but a number of things could happen there. North Carolina also scored 41 points on them. And North Carolina obviously has no defense whatsoever.
Was this like a flag football game?
It must have been. I mean, seriously, 70 points. I mean, when was the last time ECU scored 70 points? And when was the last time anybody scored 41 points on them? So, I don't think either of those teams has much defense.
If UCF gets 41 points scored on them, do you think we'd still win by 4 touchdowns?
That depends on if the other team had any defense whatsoever.
I mean,
I didn't watch the game. I didn't get to see it, but I'm suspect that there is not a lot of defense going on in that game, period.
North Carolina was overhyped. They were ranked, top 25 due to the fact that they're in a P5 conference. They had They were 2-0 coming into this game, but unimpressive victories moving forward, and especially against San Diego State. ECU's got some talent. Shane Carton is a hell of a play caller. I mean,
there were a lot of high-scoring games this week anyway, even outside of the American. 70 points was not the top.
No, which speaks to the transformation into more of a spread offense going throughout all of college football.
Yeah, I'm trying to find who actually was the top scoring game.
Well, combined, I would argue that it would probably be this one, though I didn't look at everyone else.
There was somebody that scored, I believe, Michigan State actually scored 73. I think that was the top number, so just 3 points more.
But they played Eastern Michigan.
Yeah, but, 73 points. That's still a lot. I don't care who you are. 73 points is a lot.
This was a shellacking placed on a P5 school in their backyard. Makes quite the statement for ECU. Gives us a hell of a lot to think about, going up there later this season. Right now they're the flagship program of our conference.
They are.
And think about this. If Marshall, basically playing an FCS schedule, goes undefeated, and ECU goes in, with only one loss, but having a much, much more difficult, out-of-conference schedule and a conference schedule, do they get the Access Bowl? Are they the ones who represent the G5 in the highest possible bowl outside of the playoffs?
Well, you just don't know until it happens, I guess.
I'm Marshall's 4-0, but they're 4-0 against, glorified high school teams at this moment.
There was, in that ECU game, there was only one no, that's not right. 2 interceptions, one on each team.
One on each side.
The time of possession, ECU controlled, of course.
ECU controlled this game. I mean, it's almost every play seemingly was for positive yardage.
32 of 51.
They had one running back who had like 11.7 yards per carry on 18 carries.
446 yards passing. 446 yards passing. 343 yards rushing.
I mean, that's an offense to be envious of.
7 yards per rush, 8 yards per pass.
So there you go. 2 plays, first down.
Yep.
4 plays or 30 yards down the field.
Yeah, that could be interesting when we meet them the last, if we're...
Well, we're going to meet them regardless, but if we're even a viable contender for the conference title.
That's where I was going with that, and you said it perfectly, as you so often do.
And going from what a great performance by ECU to, I can't believe they actually played that game.
Yeah, USF against UConn.
It was ugly on multiple levels. For one, it was raining.
I heard ESPN was just going to show a black screen, and they would have had more people that were actually on there.
They should have had
watching it,
and
they would have had better ratings.
Bob Ross would have brought better ratings. It was played in the mud. They had to run the ball for a majority of the time. I actually fell asleep in the middle of this game for the night. That was it. I fell asleep on the couch, got up, didn't feel like watching the game, went to bed.
UConn did too, I heard. Their offense.
Well, it was 17-14. Both offenses. Mike White looked decent early, the quarterback for USF. Whitmer, I think, was 6 for 9 for 88 yards for UConn when I was taking a peek at the box scores yesterday. It was unimpressive. As impressive as ECU was, UConn, USF are the, 2 cellar dwellers per se of our conference. I mock them just because, well, it's inherent. But USF has more FBS wins than we do.
Yeah.
And Bethune-Cookman still does as well.
Yeah. Well, we're working on some stuff. We'll get there. I just hope that, by the time that we go over there on Thanksgiving weekend, I think it's Black Friday again that we play them, that we will be able to hand them 70 points.
I don't want to hand them 70 points. I want to drop
70 points on them. That's what I meant.
I want to stomp their football soul.
Yeah.
I mean, it's already bad enough they live in Tampa. So,
hey, there's
I almost have a little pity on them.
There's nothing wrong with Tampa.
No.
I know some great people from Tampa. In fact,
did I talk about the people?
In fact,
there's nothing wrong with living in Clearwater.
I met some people from the Tampa area yesterday. It happened to be Shaquille and Shaquem Griffin's mom and dad.
Yeah, they
and I have some
they're in our tailgating lot, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. They're
very
right
nice.
A couple spots down. I was walking around talking to people, and you'll hear that later. I have them.
You'll toss those in?
Yeah, I'll toss
Brilliant.
those in right at the end of the our podcast. After we kind of do our little sign off thing, I'm going to have a whole bunch of people talking and
all of Night Nation
charge on and stuff
brilliant.
like that. Yeah, so it was pretty cool.
Moving on down through the. Oh, no worries. That's perfect. Interaction.
I had to throw that in there because it made me think of it. So those are great people from the Tampa, St. Pete area.
There's great people from Tampa, absolutely.
But
that doesn't make the city worthwhile at all.
I know. And just because USF's over there, it kind of makes it stink anyway.
Well, it actually it's a combination of funk and funk that just brings both down.
Lots of funk.
Speaking of funk, the Academic Bowl, Tulane versus Duke.
Yeah. The Academic Bowl. Is that what they call it?
I don't know what they call it, but
God.
Two schools definitely not. I say that, but Duke was the original powerhouse of the ACC conference when it first started.
Last
they
week...
won 6 of the first 10 conference titles.
Last week, Duke beat my alma mater really bad.
Duke's a good football team.
Yeah, they're not bad.
Now, I say this, though, they haven't won a conference title since '89. They haven't won a bowl game, I think, since the 60s.
Didn't they? They were in the ACC championship game last year, correct? Against Florida State. Yeah.
And of course, they played Florida State. I watched that game. Why am I saying Anyways, Tulane, they have talent. They're all young. They don't have depth, and it showed. Tanner Lee, had 3 interceptions. I think their backup came in and threw 1. There are times that they really looked good and then got near the end zone and coughed the ball up. Duke was a little iffy in the first half, came out in the second half, got their act together, and just ran away with this 47-13. Like I've said week after week, down the road, Tulane is going to be a team to deal with. This year, it's going to be a pretty good game for us to watch at home.
Yeah. Back to my comment there about Duke. Last week, they beat my alma mater, which is Kansas, 41-3, and their guy Wilson ran for 245 yards last week. That's a lot. That means that my team doesn't have any defense, but we did win this week.
Who'd you beat?
Central Missouri or Central Michigan, I think it was.
The Chippewas?
I think it was the Chippewas.
From the MAC?
Yes, from the MAC. That's all right. We won.
And
there was a couple of years ago that we didn't have any wins, and a couple of years ago that I think we lost 2 seasons or 3 seasons almost without even a conference win. It was bad. It went from really good. We were in the Orange Bowl a few years ago, I think 2007, 2008, with Mark Mangino, the big man. And then all of a sudden, they fired him because supposedly he, ate a player or whatever it was. I'm not sure what it was. They either ate him or hit him.
There's 85 scholarships. You can
I think
use to lose one player here or there.
Yeah. And it just went all downhill from there. But this is a UCF podcast, not a Kansas podcast. In fact, maybe we'll... No.
We won't go there. But we only talk about basketball.
Yeah.
Kansas Speaking basketball. Of eating someone, Texas A&M swallowed SMU whole 58-6. Kenny Hill looks like a legitimate NFL prospect at quarterback for Texas A&M.
Anytime I hear somebody that's named Kenny, though, it kind of reminds me of South Park. I'm sorry. It does.
South Park has intertwined itself with our our culture.
Kenny?
But SMU, 2 field goals. Do you believe that they'll go winless this year? This is their first game sans June Jones. Same result as...
If I was June Jones, I would have quit too.
He's going to go relax in his home in Hawaii, enjoy the solid paychecks he took. SMU has quite the boosters, the guys who give a good chunk of change, $1 million club.
They were such a program back in the day. I mean...
Money.
Yeah, and they paid their players very well. So, it's unfortunate. I think I've said this before. I grew up wanting to play football at SMU. That was my. I don't know why. I don't know why it was SMU. Besides Eric Dickerson, I think that's why.
Pony Express just was appealing to you.
I think that's what it was. I don't know, but I remember being, in playing Pee Wee football and all that stuff, and wanting to play at SMU. I think it was because of Eric Dickerson.
Well, SMU has about as many wins this season as they have fans in their stands.
I know.
That's why it's hard for their football program to grow.
I'm sure there were more Texas A&M fans there than there were.
That's the one unfortunate thing about that program that just is holding it back. They have the internal funding and the desire from the school itself to grow. It's just no desire from the locals to visit or the alumni to show up to games.
Yeah, they had, a couple of years ago they had a couple teams that were good. So we hope that they, get
become
back
reputable again
to their winning ways and can help the American Conference out. To be honest with you, because it's pretty bleak.
What the last 3 games for us to cover were all wins for the American. Cincinnati over Miami of Ohio. Gunnar Kiel didn't look as impressive this week against Miami as he did against Toledo, but it was still a win for Cincy on the road against one of the upper tier, and I don't know if you can really say that about MAC teams, but an upper tier MAC team. The alma mater of Ben Roethlisberger, that's their claim to fame. And
Miami, Ohio historically has been pretty good, yeah.
I would say okay. Yeah. Historically okay.
Cincinnati had 370 total yards, 271 yards passing.
Couple turnovers for Kiel.
Yeah, couple turnovers.
And then moving down, Memphis over Middle Tennessee. Middle Tennessee, down in Murfreesboro, and I don't want to say down, they're central, like they're the exact dead central of the state of Tennessee. They're trying to become a legitimate program. In Memphis with local boy Paxton Lynch.
Is Memphis
quote-unquote linchpin
right
of that offense for Memphis.
Is Middle Tennessee State a
Sunbelt program?
Sunbelt, okay.
Or did they move to Conference USA?
I'm not sure, to be honest with you.
I knew they were Sunbelt, the Blue Raiders.
Maybe I can find out here real quick. The Blue Raiders. Conference USA, they are.
They have moved up.
Yeah. I thought they were FCS for some reason.
No. They've been up for a while. I actually had a good buddy from college who started out there who we made the incredibly boring drive over there one weekend, and I was like, I'm never going back.
Didn't you go to school in Tennessee someplace?
I went to a couple schools in Tennessee. Yeah, in Chattanooga. I went to UTC, which has the worst, name ever. We went from the Moccasins to the Mockingbirds, and that was, every time we traveled to a game, the home fans, rightfully so, made fun of us. It was depressing. My
fiance's daughter goes, speaking of great names for your team, my fiance's daughter goes to Millennium Middle School. Do you know what they're?
The Millennials?
No.
What?
The Millennium Falcons.
Okay, that's a good name.
That is awesome. The Millennium Falcons.
The Mockingbirds is a terrible name. We could have stayed the Moccasins and gone from, the local Native Americans didn't like our names. We had almost like the Redskins. So instead of changing it to the Snake, the Moccasin, we went to the Mockingbirds. And
you could have been the Water Moccasins.
That would have been great.
Yeah.
I would have loved it.
I mean, you're going to get bit. Or your slogan could have been,
it was sad.
With the Water Moccasins.
And then we had a bird running around in a conductor's uniform for a train. It was just sad. Much like UNLV's football program. That's sad. Houston put up 47
I didn't realize, in fact, I forgot that UNLV had a football program. I thought I remember like them having a basketball program with what was his name? Tarkanian.
They were a very, very, very good basketball program in the early 90s.
Yeah.
And that was the early 90s. They've been a pathetic football program for the history of the program. Houston, John O'Corn actually had a couple, interceptions and turnovers. Mattered not. They were able to get the win, give the American a positive side. We had another win. Temple 59-0 over FCS Delaware State. And PJ Walker, their star quarterback, didn't look that good, but they were able to get the job done. Now the score's a little inflated. They had a pick six, a long pick six. They had a punt return for a touchdown, several turnovers by Delaware State, no offense. So they were able to start in advantageous field position, which gave them short yardage to be able to just pile up the points against this terrible, terrible team.
Is there a Delaware and a Delaware State?
Yes, there is. You know, there's Joe Flacco came from Delaware.
So did Rich Gannon, I believe.
Rich Gannon. That's way before my time.
Whatever.
And then the last team here, UCF, with a 41-7 victory over BCU to roll out the American, having a better week this week. Why don't we hear from the players and the coaches what they thought about that?
I think that this would be a perfect time to do that. All right, we're going to start off with George O'Leary and basically his opening statement, and that pretty much said it all.
Good team win, offense, defense, kicking game. Basically started off a little sluggish on offense first quarter there, and actually first half come out and did a much better job. I thought there was a lot more flow to the game in the second half offensively. And defensively, they let them escape a couple of times there on some blown assignments. But overall, good team win.
All right, so that was George O'Leary's basic synopsis of the whole deal. And I also have JJ coming up here. We have Jordan Ondrizek, Holman, and Plummer. I'm going to play those for you right now.
It was a great turnout when I heard the number 44,000. I mean, that's big coming with like a Bethune-Cookman game. But I mean, that's the type of support that we love and need coming from all our fans. We're just going to try and roll off of this momentum and come into a big conference game next week.
Yeah, it was. It's been a while since we've been around our home crowd. It was good to hear the crowd behind us and get back to this winning feeling, and I know the fans was happy as well.
I think the guys, we stayed consistent. The execution picked up, and we were fiery. It was good to be in front of the home crowd, and that was a big factor into it. Also, it was good to get back at home.
I think it was very important. These last few games, I think we've been giving up touchdowns on the first drive, letting people drive the ball down. We want to make a statement, go out there, set the tone early. When offense gets the ball, they drop it down. And when defense gets the ball, we stop them 3 and out and get them back to them. We're spending too much time on the field. And I think today we try to, get off and get the offense the ball.
Night Nation, you should be very proud of yourself. Wharton, Holman, and Ondrizek, all 3 of them touched on the home crowd and how that uplifted them in the program and helped us on the victory.
Yeah, George actually did later on in the. I didn't take that clip, but later on in the press conference, he actually commented as well. So I think everybody did a wonderful job coming out there and filling.
Night Nation showed up, and we did our part, and the boys on the field did their part. And Plummer talked about the defense. He made some good points about wanting to step up, getting a 3 and out, forcing the punt and not score early on us. So it was a product of the fans in the stands, and it was a product of as the game progressed, a quality football.
Yep. All right. So we got Kurt's questions here. We're going to do Tina's take a little bit later, and then we're going to play all those fan comments and stuff like that for you. All right. So here's going to be Kurt's questions. All right, Night fans, welcome to this episode of Kurt's Questions, featuring Kurt Searcy. All right, so Kurt's question this week is, what do you feel is the reason for the slow starts for the UCF offense? Troy?
Did Kurt mail that one in?
He did mail it in.
Oh, he happens to be, a little occupied today. Clearly,
his Florida State team almost got beat yesterday.
It happens when your quarterback is suspended the entire game because he's in numbnuts.
I hope we can say numbnuts on YouTube and they don't get mad at us. Yes, that guy is. Speaking of Jameis Winston, real quick, let's get this. If you're accused of raping a woman, I don't care if it's wrongly accused or whatever. If you're accused, if your name comes up at all in anything like that, you do not stand on a table in the student union and scream whatever it was that he screamed. I'm not going to repeat it. It's not worth repeating. You don't do that. If I was the coach, I don't care how good of a player he is. It's probably why I'm not the coach of Florida State.
That's the only reason.
Yeah, that's probably the only reason. But if I was the coach, I would not even have him on the team anymore. He would be gone.
But is it okay to steal crab legs from Publix?
Well, that's not okay either. None of it's okay. They are delicious. They are delicious. None of it is okay, and I would kick him off the team. I would. I don't care if he won the Heisman Trophy.
The kid shows absolutely no judgment of any proper kind.
He chose no judgment at all.
I mean, you made a poor judgment. You can argue that. What it is just an entitled young man who is squandering future opportunities due to his immaturity. Something
said that every time he speaks, he loses like 12 million or something like that. I could see that.
That's a powerful statement,
yeah.
And not wholly inaccurate either.
Yeah. So,
as for Kurt's questions, Kurt, it's the offensive line.
It is. That's the only thing that could be said about that.
Right now, we are incapable of creating running lanes. We are not giving our quarterback, Justin Holman, more than like 2.5 seconds to throw the ball for the most part. We're not getting that. We didn't get a lot of penalties.
We didn't.
Granted, we talked about this earlier about, the level of competition, but we made some progress on that offensive line, and we can make more than incremental progress each game, and then we'll be looking good when it comes to the ECU game at the end of the year, our big conference battle. But hopefully we can make some progress as we start our conference play next week.
Yeah. Well, I that's pretty much all that can be said about that. So, again, with the Find Out Force, that's all I got to say about that. Anyway, that's one of my favorite movies. I have quotes for days from that deal.
Does the movie remind you of your youth?
My favorite one.
The event after event you remember as they all transpired?
In a way, a little bit, yes. But the favorite line, though, is "I gotta pee." That was like absolutely the favorite, and it
that does not shock me at all.
Bill Clinton a little bit there too. Yeah.
Well, Bill Clinton meant JFK.
Yeah. Okay, so that was my impersonations for the day. Okay, and the next thing we're gonna do here is we're gonna do Tina's take. We've talked about this. We're gonna do it right here. I got a little intro music, so I'll play that. Night Nation, please welcome Tina with Tina's Take. All right, Tina, welcome. Welcome to UCF Knightline. Tina is my fiance. If you guys haven't heard that, I think I've talked about her before. And we've been going to the home games now for 4 years?
Yes.
All right, so what do you got for us this week? A little bit of background first with you. Tell us.
In high school, I was in the marching band, and I was also an indoor guard, color guard, competed many times. I have many friends that are on drum corps that they did after high school.
All right, so what did you think? First of all, what did you think about the game?
The game was awesome. First quarter, not quite so good, but after that, way better.
All right, so give us your take on the band.
Well, what can I say? Bethune-Cookman is known. Their band is phenomenal. They are outstanding. Every year we've ever played them, I've been so excited to watch their band.
And you've been seeing them play them for years because you used to go back in the Citrus Bowl days and all that stuff too,
yes,
right?
We won't go the year that I graduated, but yes, I've watched them since the Citrus Bowl. They are fantastic. I love our band. I don't want to badmouth our band, but we are the Marchin' Knights. We should do more than just march into the stadium and march out of the stadium. We are the second largest university in the country. We need to have better sheet music. Let's see.
Maybe we can
if we could pass around the hat, maybe, but no more 1970s, no more 1980s. Every home game, I'm so excited to see if the band is going to blow me away. Usually it's only maybe once a season. I think it needs to be more than that.
It does. Maybe we can start a Kickstarter or something to.
If we can. Latin jazz, what can I say?
It's usually music from the 1970s.
They said it hasn't been played in 20 years. There's probably a reason for that.
Yeah.
Bethune-Cookman, they don't just play. They move. They show you different designs. You're watching the big board to see what design they're doing. They are high-stepping. They are dancing out there. They are singing out there. They are having so much fun. They got the crowd, not a home crowd, an away crowd, to stand and cheer so loud. That's what we need.
And I think that's probably the most home fans that I've ever seen at Bright House Stadium sit around and
over 40,000.
Yeah,
they said, and everybody was still there.
Most
watching.
of them, stayed instead of going and get a hot dog or something like that. So that was cool. Alrighty, well, thank you very much for coming on.
You're welcome. And let me just say, I love the band. I'm not bad-mouthing the band. I love you guys. Charge on. Let's get some new music. I know you guys are probably more excited to get the new music. You guys have played newer, upbeat, Lady Gaga in the stands. It's awesome. Can we move that onto the field? I think if we did that, not everybody would go to the bathroom or get hot dogs at halftime. You might actually get people standing and cheering for you, not just clapping because it's over.
All right. Thank you very much. I greatly appreciate you coming on. Ladies and gentlemen, Tina's Take. All right, so I'm Andrew Phegley. This has been episode number 9.
There it is. We finally got the episode out.
I think I said it in the beginning, too.
Huh?
I think I said it at the beginning. Oh, this is episode number 9.
I like the audience. I zone out when you talk. It happens.
That's nice. All right, so...
This is Troy Ondrizek.
Okay.
I zone out when I talk, too.
All right, stay tuned because there is some pre-recorded stuff at the end, some fan comments and people scream and charge on and stuff like that.
You're going to hear from Night Nation.
Yep, going to hear a little bit from Night Nation, so make sure you stick around and listen to that. There's some very good comments from those guys. All right, thank you very much. We will see you next week with a preview of the Houston UCF game. Have a good one.
My name is Tangi, and they call me Mama Griffin. Oh, my 2 players, Shaquille and Shaquem Griffin, the Griffin boys.
Are you mom?
I'm mom.
We have Shaquille and Shaquem Griffin's mom. They're awesome. I like those guys. I'm glad to have them.
Yes. We're glad to be here. Out of the 36 choices, they chose UCF.
All right.
And I'm so proud.
UCF?
Well, they chose UCF because of the school, of what their major is. You know, it wasn't so much about the coaches. It was about they fell in love with the school. So that was an awesome thing.
So you're daddy.
Yes, sir.
What's your name?
Terry Griffin.
All right. And what do you think about your boys choosing UCF?
It was all about them. Being a father, no pressure. Wherever y'all decide to go, I'm behind you 120%.
So that was probably a lot of pressure for them to choose from a lot of different schools. She said that they had 30-something offers. Did they both have all those offers, or was it more one of them than the other, or?
I think one of them, Shaquille, had 3 offers more. But Shaquem, he pretty much did all the work. He's been trying to prove himself, and he's still proving himself, that he can play the game. And they wanted to stay here in Florida. And I was like, wherever y'all decide, we behind you. Because Alabama came at them hard at the end. And they kept saying Alabama, and I kept saying Alabama. Just think about it. That's a long trip for us.
Right.
And this right down the road from us.
Yeah. I'm very glad to have you guys here, and I'm glad to have them here. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And thank you.
This is J.D. Willem, and these are my kids.
Eva, Kellen.
And Kellen and I went to the Missouri game last weekend, and we had a great time, great tailgate with the Alumni Center, and great first 2.5 quarters, but unfortunately they wore us down. But it looks like we're going to have a great season, and looking forward to the home opener.
What's your score prediction for today?
What do you guys think?
38-28.
I'm going to go with 31-10.
I wouldn't do any numbers.
No numbers. All right. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Hi, I'm Maura. First 2 games were disappointing. Definitely should have won at Dublin, Missouri. Okay, but we're going to win today.
Dylan Cruzlin. It's a nice experience. I'm really glad to be here, and hopefully it's a good game, and they win.
My name's Jason LeBlanc, UCF fan forever today. Season ticket holder for 1,000 years, whatever it is. Wore my Survived the Marshall Monsoon t-shirt.
I was there, too.
That was a phenomenal game. Right down to the overtime and going from back and forth to the end zone, sloshing through that crowd. I was really hoping today wasn't going to be a repeat of that game, and it actually looks pretty nice. So
yeah, I thought that it was a possibility for sure, because we haven't really had one where, I mean, it sprinkled a little bit during South Carolina, I think, last year. But otherwise it was kind of brutally hot during that one, and the monsoon game was absolutely crazy.
It was amazing.
I brought a jacket that I thought was waterproof, and it wasn't.
Of course.
So
I don't think anything was waterproof. Yeah. Not for that game. Go Knights.
Charge on.
That's it.
My name is Gary Bennett. I'm from Ocala. My son Thomas here graduated from UCF, and we were in Dublin. We follow all the home games, and I think this will put us back on a winning streak today.
And do you have a prediction?
No, I won't predict numbers, but I think this will be the start of it.
I'm John Baker. Well, I went to Dublin. It was a great game. Of course, we wished it would have ended a little bit different. We played well against Missouri last week for 2.5 quarters. We just got to get it turned around today. Hope the O-line starts to gel. Let's get a win under our belt, get some confidence back, start getting ready for our run through the conference. We'll do all right.
So you don't think what's happened so far is detrimental to the rest of the season, really?
No, I mean, it'd have been nice to win, at least one of the first 2 games. Those were both, big-time opponents. But, we've still got a good team. We need the offensive line to gel, give Justin a little bit more time to make some plays. We got a ton of weapons. We'll be all right.
And, hey, I got somebody who wants to talk here.
Hi.
What's your name?
Sarah.
Sarah, what do you think about UCF football?
Good.
Go Knights.
Good.
Charge on.
Good.
Okay. How are you?
Good.
What's your name?
Kyle.
Kyle, what do you think about UCF football? Have you been to a game before?
Yes.
Is it fun?
Yes.
All right. Can I get charge on from you?
What's that?
Just say charge on.
Charge on.
All right, there we go.
Mark Turlip. A little disappointed in what's going on this season. I think we can do a lot better than what we are. Our defense needs a little bit more pressure on the quarterback. As far as the rest of the season, I think we can come out of this today, move forward. We have the talent. We have a lot of seniors, and we'll see what happens. I'm excited about the rest of the season. We had some tough games, especially starting out with Penn State. Missouri was a different story, but nobody gave us a chance on that, and we were there until the third quarter. So I'm still positive, and I think we can turn around the season.
Greg Turlip. Well, I'm excited about the talent on the team. I think, defining who our quarterback is going forward is a positive thing. I think we got some work to do on the offensive line with a couple new folks, but we got a lot of talent there too. So it's all about growing up in that position. But I think our defense is going to come through. I have total 100% confidence in that. I think it's just a matter of time. But no, I think we still got a great chance of winning the conference. We lost some tough ones, but we played them tough. And, hey, we'll see what happens at the end of the season, but I still think we got a good chance at a good bowl game.
Jason Compton. Hey, I'll tell you what. If you're getting death threats, that means we're getting to be a big-time college football program because that's a pretty big deal. This game tonight, it's a big deal, to be honest with you, because I've talked to a couple people who play at BCC and coach at BCC, and they firmly believe they're going to come in here and they're going to get a victory tonight. So, we're 0-2 right now. We need to win in the worst way. We haven't really started any conference play yet, so, we got to get some momentum going, and I think we can tonight. It's going to come down to Hallman playing pretty good, not making mistakes, don't turn the football over, and the defense being able to stop the run and all the things that BCC likes to do. They like to do a lot of, check of the lines sort of things, and if we do that, we'll be fine. But we can't come in lackadaisical. If we take care of business, then I think it'll set up good for the rest of the season. If we come in and lay an egg again, then it's going to be a long season.
Josh, but I don't know. I think today could be good, but the first 2 games I'm just kind of disappointed in how we played, overall. I mean, I think our team's more solid than that, and Penn State, I don't want to go into it too much hating on UCF, but we should have started Holman, most likely, and overall, I mean,
it's not hate.
Missouri, I think, was just kind of a better team overall. I mean, really.
We're not hating on people. It's the truth, for one, and the truth hurts sometimes, and it's not that we're hurting on anybody. We're not. People made death threats to Pete DeNovo. What do you think about that?
That's kind of garbage. I mean, I don't think anybody should be. It's college football, man. It should be fun. I mean, for everybody. I mean, you want to win. I mean, after last season, there's kind of an expectation to win, but I mean. Death, that's ridiculous.
How about everybody give me a big charge on?
Charge on!
Can I get a big charge on from everybody? Charge on! This is a group of about probably 30 people here, so that was good.
Charge on! Georgia!
Awesome. Thank you very much, guys.
UCF, charge on to the field. With our spirits, we'll never yield. Black and